welcome back to another episode of Life of a Sim Racer. My name is Brandon, and I have a new co-host for today since our regular co-host, Mr. Brandon Six, is out and about on vacation. Hope he's having a great time. But we have the driver of the number 4 Race Lab 4 Mustang, Mr. Nick Silver, hanging out with us tonight. How you feeling tonight, buddy?
Feeling pretty good. How's it going?
Doing pretty good. Very busy weekend. Started with it waking up early in the morning, trying to get car washed. 94, 95 degree weather. So yeah, I'm pretty sure you in California, you know what that's like.
It was a comfortable 73 today.
Okay, get out. Just get out, cause that's not even, that doesn't even make any. That's ridiculous. That doesn't even make sense. Well, I'm glad you had a nice, comfortable day. It was hot as hell here in Maryland. So, but yeah. So this race that you guys are seeing in the background, this was the All-Star race that everybody was looking forward to. We basically had to vote between a couple tracks. Nashville Fairgrounds, which is the one that was chosen. Iowa was a choice. There were 2 other tracks that were a choice, but I don't think they had a chance in hell of winning. It was really between Iowa and this one. And the majority of the votes went to this track. Wasn't my vote, but this is where we landed. So, again, it was the All-Star race, so, points don't count, or, you really don't get anything besides bragging rights. And that's, in my opinion, you can definitely see where the I don't care kind of came out from some of the drivers, because some drivers just kind of drove over their head and was doing a lot of dumb stuff. But unfortunately, moving past that, we're gonna have to start with Mr. Nick Silver because well, he didn't get past lap 1. But Mr. Silver, if you can talk us through what happened, as we've already went past your incident. We'll go back through those later on when we go over our clips. But I guess if you can tell us about how because you had to go through did you go through yes, you went through the open. So I guess tell us about that and how you got at least through that. At least there's something good to talk about.
Yeah, I had to race my way through the open, like you said. I went back to winners from this year and last year, and it's been about a decade almost since I've last won at RSR. But I felt like I had speed. I was, I think, like top 6 maybe in practice, and then somehow qualified like 4th. So I thought I had some speed, and then just classic case of the track totally changing how it felt once the race actually started. So I just couldn't really get a good feel of it. I was kind of holding up the guys behind me. Lost a few spots, fell back to 7th on the long green flag run. But thankfully all the guys behind me that were close to the transfer spot were quite a ways back, and even though they were gaining a little bit on me, they just didn't have enough time to pass me. So overall it was pretty good, making it over into the All-Star race. And it was pretty short-lived from there. Had to start towards the back. I guess I wasn't really sure exactly how Evan figured out the invert. It was kind of, I guess, a reverse of what the points are now. So me and you started in the back, and there was some chaos early. First lap, somebody's already in the wall. And then second lap, finally a few cars pile it up in turn 4. And our teammate, Michael Johnson, kind of ricocheted off another car off the wall and got me with the corner of his car right in the right front wheel. I went back and looked at it, and it was hardcore net code, of course, always kills me. And anyway, got the meatball, of course, went on to pit road and had about 8.5 minutes of required repairs.
Ouch.
So yeah, that was an early end of the night. I wish we would have had some fast repairs or something, maybe at least one, since, it was all for fun. but it is what it is. At least I got to eat dinner early, and I had a delicious grilled chicken wrap from my favorite burger place.
Nice. What burger place? Might add.
It's called Orchid Burger. It's a local place. Sean Casto actually will know about it since he lived out here for a short stint. So shout out to Sean and Orchid Burger.
Okay. Nice. Well, it sucks. I mean, no matter who you are or what track it is, it sucks to be kind of taken out, on lap one. It's kind of all that was kind of a waste of time, having to go through the open, fight your way through that. I think you guys had to finish in the top 10 for the people who would make it to the feature. And to get taken out in lap one, I mean, it's kind of just ridiculous. So,
yeah, I probably would have been more upset, if it had actually meant something. And at least it didn't feel like a total waste of time because, it got laps in the open. I think I probably would have been more pissed off if I had been locked in, did all the practice, and then got wiped out lap one.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, for me, before you guys kind of saw me get turned as well. So, like I was saying before, it was a lot of aggression at the beginning. In my personal opinion, I don't feel like a lot of people really took this race seriously. And I guess we'll go ahead and jump into the opinions on how we thought the race went. Watching it, I guess it was pretty entertaining. At the beginning, there was a long run. I don't remember what lap that went green for a while, but once they kind of got green, it kind of got stale because there's no strategy at this point. I mean, the race was only 100 laps, so I mean, you're not really, you're like, okay, what's the leader gonna do, or what's second place gonna do, or what's third place gonna be? It was basically, trying to come through the field, but saving your tires at the same time. It just didn't put on the show. In my opinion, everybody has their own opinion. I just think that Iowa would have put on a better show because you have, you have the bottom groove and you have the high groove, and in 3 and 4 you also have the middle groove as well. So that, in my opinion, would have gave a better idea of what the drivers can really do, when they're jam packed like this. This track just, I don't know, like it just was difficult to really race around each other. In my opinion, the setup wasn't that good either, so it just made everybody kind of tiptoe around everybody, which a lot of people didn't feel like they needed to tiptoe and were just uber aggressive. So which when you have cautions like that and you're taking out 5-10 cars, there's only 25 cars in the race, so you're not gonna really have a lot of people to really contest you for wins or contest you for positions. So I don't know, it was okay. It just, I don't know, I was expecting more. But I mean, how did you feel about it?
I mean, honestly, after I got wrecked, I didn't really watch the race. I was kind of over it at that point. I just popped in occasionally just to see how you guys were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, pretty much all of us except for I think maybe William had issues and were either in the back or wiped out. So I voted for Nashville. I really didn't want Iowa. I just really don't like Iowa. I'm really not good at Iowa. But obviously, in hindsight, I would have rather we raced at Iowa because, I mean, this is a cool track. I like this track a lot, but man, I don't know if it was a setup or I think it was more really just the car. It was just not the right car for this track. It bottomed out too much. It was too unpredictable. There's that bump coming out of turn 2 that would always bite you.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I think probably regular speedway might have been the real way to go, but at the very least, Iowa probably would have been better. I get we want to race this car. We don't really want to change to a different car just for one race. But if we were gonna race here, something, I was telling you during the race, something like the late models, the regular underpowered late models would have been awesome at this track. So it was just a bad track and car combo in my opinion. But it is the All-Star race. It's just for shits and giggles. So if something doesn't work out, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and I was actually going to mention that as well when we had that conversation about, I wonder, how much better it would have been if we ran the super late models or the late models. I mean, we used to run that, the Real Sim Racing League used to have, I guess, an IROC series is basically what it was, and we would race the super late models at, during basically our off weeks during the cup races. So, and, for
who's
super late
the
model.
defending champion of that, by the way?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, you are.
Oh.
That's bad that I don't remember that. So yes, that you actually got us our first. Did you ever get a trophy?
Oh yeah, Evan sent me a pretty awesome trophy.
I don't think did you. You're gonna have to send me those pictures off like later on, because I need to be able to post that. Like I don't remember. You probably did. I'm just old. I don't remember everything these days. But yes, you are the IROC champion from last year. We didn't run it this year. I'm not sure why. I actually was looking forward to kind of running it this year because I didn't really get to run it a lot last year. So, but that's other news. but yeah, I agree. I think the car combination, track combination, just wasn't what we would have expected. And like you said, it's probably the setup, track, car combination just didn't work out. I do believe we ran something like super late models or a lot late models, it probably would have been a lot more racy. Instead of
even the car from last year, I think.
Yeah, and I mean you can just look. I mean, if we're not loose and out of control, we're just plowing tight, and it's hitting the track so hard that you literally have to slow down so much, and it's hard to make a pass on anybody. So it's I don't know. Like I said, it wasn't the worst All-Star race, but it wasn't the best All-Star race. So there's always next year, and we'll see what the guys at RSR have in mind, for next year.
Yeah, I think also just throwing it out there, but I think next year we need to have some more shenanigans of some sort. Need to have like some stages, maybe, or a stage, maybe an invert at a stage, something cool. Might shake it up. So if we get something like this again, where it's single file, not a lot of passing, at least we'll maybe have something manufactured to shake it up a little bit, maybe make it exciting.
Okay, I like that idea. Are we gonna include drag racing in that as well, like the real All-Star race going on?
Definitely not. Definitely not. Just got done watching that a little bit ago. It was pretty awful. But I don't know. I think Evan or the rest of the guys in the league could come up with some fun shenanigans.
Oh yeah, I agree 100%. So, I agree. The drag racing. I didn't even watch the All-Star qualifying, and I already knew. I was like, that's not gonna be my cup of tea. I'm gonna stay away from that. So, it's what I expected. You kind of, said it right there that it wasn't very good. So, hey, I didn't waste my time. So I'm good with that. Now, an interesting topic that I do want to bring up before we get into our caution breakdown clips.
You didn't talk about your race, though.
Oh, right. Sorry. Let's see. I didn't have to run the open because I did win a race. So I was actually locked into the feature, and well, it just wasn't good. Ran a couple laps. The setup felt decent once I figured out that I need to be shifting every lap, which is annoying to know. But once I kind of figured all that out, I, was okay with it. Now, if I actually backtrack a little bit, I technically wasn't going to do this race. My plan was actually just to sit back and just watch the team, do what they do and try to get a win out of it. Actually, me and Brandon 6 had decided we weren't going to run it. Probably earlier, once we found out that it was going to be this track, we kind of decided we weren't going to run it. it wasn't until maybe 15 minutes before the open race that we kind of decided, why not? Let's go ahead and try, maybe see if we can learn something from it. And then fast forward into, I don't remember what lap that was, but I got wrecked twice. I got wrecked once, and then I was trying to avoid a wreck and got even more damage, and I basically had the same thing that happened to Nick, and I had, 8 minutes of damage. So, I'm not gonna call his name. I know he wants me to call out his name, who turned me, but it's. I mean, if you want to know the number, it's the number 51. But I don't feel like I need to call him out or anything like that because it's the All-Star race, and it doesn't. For me, it really doesn't matter. There was no points on the line. Everybody's being aggressive. The person in front of me, I believe it's Ross Cato. He had to check up, I think, because he was about to hit the wall. I checked up behind him, and the 51 didn't expect me to be that slow. And he tagged me or whatever. So wasn't that big deal to me. And then of course I think the 51 gets turned. We'll talk about that in one of the clips. He gets turned. I try to go to the apron to kind of avoid, and I kind of get squeezed in the wall, and there goes my 8 minutes of damage. So, as I say, this 15. I decided to do the race 15 minutes before the open. So that tells you right there that, number one, I wasn't really prepared to finish the race. Number two, I was just doing it for shits and giggles. And number three, if I wrecked out on lap 1, I wasn't going to be mad because I really wasn't going to care. So, I hate to say it, but I really honestly didn't expect anything special out of this race. It's just one of those races where I expected everybody to be super aggressive because the race was only 100 laps. And as I stated earlier, it's hard to pass. So, what happened is what I expected. I rolled out, not mad or anything like that. We'll move on to the next race, which is Charlotte, which I'm excited for. We'll see how that goes, but we'll get into that later as well.
Yeah. I was pretty shocked at how clean the open was. It was totally polar opposite from what the regular one was.
Yeah, absolutely. The open was there only one caution?
Yep.
Yeah, there was only one caution. And then the rest of the race, it was 50 laps, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that race was actually clean. I actually is what we would call ghosting. So basically, I went into the session and basically was a ghost, but I was able to run my cars and can run like with the people on the track. They just can't see me, and I can't hit them or anything like that. But I did that in the open, and I felt pretty decent. I was able to make, I guess, ghost passes. That's a thing. But I felt like I could definitely get runs, and I felt like I was learning. So that's really as much practice as I did. But the open was great. I felt like there were some good clean passes. There was even some beating and banging. If I remember correctly, in the pack that you were around, Nick. And everybody came home, happy and whatever. And then they went into the feature and lost their damn minds. I don't know. I don't understand it. It happens in real life as well. I get it. It's just, it's like, can we get past lap 1 first? Like, let's, kind of everybody get settled in, and let's, if we were to do 15, 20 laps and then a caution, then it's like, okay, that's, that's kind of what we expected. But a caution on lap 1, and then another caution a couple laps later, it's just like, there's only 100 laps, guys. Like, this is not a long ass race where we really have time to really make up these spots. Like, kind of just settle in and kind of let it just roll. But I don't know. I guess it is what it is. These happen even in the pickup races and that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it is what it is. But yeah. So sorry, forgot to do that. I forgot to give my side of it. Kind of got caught up in getting this question answered. I'm really curious on what your thoughts are. So it's kind of a blow up argument between Ross Cato and Jeremy Miller. So the situation basically was at the, well, let me back up. The rule is at the beginning of the race, the leader has to go off the flagman when he waves the green flag. So basically what ended up happening is, and I looked at it from Jeremy Miller's driver's seat, and only thing you can really see from his view is you can see the flagman holding the flagman up in the air. Now, I'm assuming once he got closer and closer and saw that, that's when he got on the gas. Now, again, the rule is the flagman needs to be waving the flag, not just holding up the green flag. So when Jeremy went, he wasn't holding up the, he wasn't waving the green flag. And we also get a little notification as well on our screen that says green, 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 go. So that hadn't happened either yet. So Ross Cato's, I guess, argument against that is Jeremy jumped the start, and per the rules, I believe if you jump the start, it's a black flag. I'm not sure if it's I think it's a drive-through.
Yep.
So yeah, so technically he got a freebie. Now, again, it is the All-Star race, so it's, rules are probably a little bit on the lax side. It's not really enforced, but if he's given that penalty, I don't think he wins that race. I don't.
Not.
So I'm asking you, Nick. Play now both sides. You're Jeremy. Do you feel it's fair to be penalized for a All-Star race, a race that doesn't count for points or anything like that? It's just on bragging rights. And then put yourself in Ross Cato's shoes, and then tell me how you feel if you're him. You're like, well, everybody else follows the rules, and if it was anybody else, basically I would have been penalized. But give me your view on it. What do you think?
Well, I saw it on the broadcast. You could see it on the broadcast because they're right there behind the flagman on the initial start, and you can see Jeremy, jumps it way early. Like you said, the flagman's got the green in the air, but he's not actually waving it till the cars are practically at the start-finish line. So as far as the rule goes, yeah, Jeremy should have been penalized for jumping the start. Even though it's the All-Star race, the only thing that didn't really matter, I guess, was incident points. So, if you're going to enforce other rules, I guess you should enforce all the rules at the All-Star race. I don't think Jeremy did it on purpose. I mean, he should have known, because like you said, it's not just the guy waving the green flag. You've got the green lights, right in front of your face, flashing when the green flag's waved and everything. So, he should have been waiting for that. But like I said, I don't think he did it on purpose. I think he was just excited. He's starting on the pole. He's anticipating the start. He sees the flag up there. And then, like I said, the flagman didn't wave the damn green flag until they were right at the start-finish line. So he just got a little antsy and took off. So I think he should have been penalized, but at the same time, I don't think it's that big a deal that he wasn't. Like you said, it's the All-Star race. Literally nothing matters from this race. Not to take away his win or anything like that. Take anything away from his win. It was impressive they led all the laps, but there was no money on the line. There was no points on the line. Nothing was on the line. So a missed call doesn't really matter in this one, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think it should have been blown up into the argument that it was on Discord. If Ross wanted to mention it, he could just mention it and let it go. It doesn't hurt anybody that Jeremy wasn't penalized, and he ended up winning the race. So, that's pretty much where I stand. Should have been penalized, but not really a big deal that he wasn't.
I can agree to that. I can agree. The only thing that I could really say that I kind of didn't like was the fact that if if we are going to play by the rules, then we need to know when the rules are not as stringent, you know. So I don't remember if the notes, if they said that or not. I don't believe they said that the rules will be laxed or anything like that. I just want consistency. So if we're going to, it's kind of like I can't remember who said it. We had somebody, and it might have been you. I don't think it was you though. But we had a guest on who basically said that the penalty for rolling through too many pit boxes, it's the penalty is not consistent. You had some people who would get it, and then you had some people who don't get it. So it's like, you know, that's not really fair. So why don't we just get rid of the rule altogether? You know, if it's hard to keep track of who doesn't and who doesn't do it, then there's, you know, no need to have that penalty. I'm not saying take away this penalty, but, you know, rules are rules. But I do agree that it's an all-star race. It's not that big of a deal. And like I said before, if he's given the penalty, he probably doesn't come back and win that race. I believe Andrews, who finished second, Andrews probably the one who actually more than likely wins the race for sure. Between him and maybe Eberhard, because Eberhard was leading before he hit the wall. So one of those two probably win it. And shout out to Battle Beaver because they sponsor those two cars as well. But yeah, they probably, either one of them probably win it. And you know, but then you have the situation of people possibly being upset because it is the All-Star race and the rules are, you know, they feel like the rules shouldn't be as stringent compared to like a points race or whatever. So I think it just depends. It kind of goes back to what you said. In your opinion, that's how you feel, and I think it's just an opinionated situation where it's like it just depends on how you feel on the situation at hand. Whether you're for the penalty or you're not for the penalty, you know, it's each their own. But at the end of the day, it honestly, I don't think it really makes a matter besides, you know, it possibly changing who actually wins the race.
It just, you can't let it happen in a points paying race. So as
Right.
long as that doesn't happen, then like I said, I don't really think it's a big deal. But if there was money on the line or something in this one, then yeah, I'd probably be pissed that, you know, he got away with one. But like you said, it would be nice if, you know, Evan had said, hey, you know, the normal rules don't really apply. Because, you know, who knows? There could have been a situation on one of the restarts where somebody could have changed lanes and, you know, could have made a move or something, and they didn't do it because they were worried about getting a penalty when, you know, they probably wouldn't have. So,
yeah, I agree. I think just Evan, if you're listening, you know we love you, but you know, just a little bit clearer on the information. That's all. So we're asking. But
if you're listening, put fast repairs in the next All-Star race so that I don't die on lap 1.
+1 for Nick on that one. +1. At least he can get more than one lap in, without being completely freaking destroyed. But all right, so that's about it as far as the topic. I mean, again, the race was only 100 laps, so I mean, there's really not much to talk about. Especially because the race in the background is about the end because it was only 100 laps. So we are going to move on over to our caution clips. We're going to go ahead and break those down. And you're going to hear me and Nick's opinion on what we think happened, why it happened, and what needs to be done to hopefully fix it for the next time. So let's get into it. Alright. So this clip is for lap 3, or 2 going into 3, I should say. We're right along with Mr. Rhett McBride. I mean, so basically, I do have it just a lap before to kind of set up the situation because the laps are so short. So basically, what's happened is you know, he's trying to make a pass, of course, on I believe that's Ross in front of him. Yep, gets a little loose there. Up. If you look further ahead, you see the 19. He's spinning. He's trying to save it. They're now 3 wide. I don't believe the 51 knows that they're 3 wide. He turns down, hits Rhett, and Rhett goes for a spin. And of course you'll see the multiple different views or whatever. But I don't know, Nick. I kind of thought that this would have been like I don't know if I don't know really who to put blame on that one. I don't know if I would just call that a racing deal or not. So what do you think?
I think it's probably a racing deal. I think it's hard to tell, but it looks like maybe right before the 52 turns down, Sean is like either clear of Rhett or like right at his front, so maybe Wetmore's spotter wasn't calling 3 wide at that point. Might have just been calling 2. But I don't know. It being so early, he was getting called 3 wide at some point. So it being so early, maybe just be a little extra cautious before turning down into the corner there. So I'd maybe put it on the 51, but more so probably a racing incident.
Yeah. I still don't know who the hell to put. I think I'm just gonna call it a racing incident because I'm kind of with you. Like I really don't know. I mean, I guess here, if I'm watching Sean, he's barely clear. Before McBride and the 51 kind of get into each other. So I guess this is a better view here. Maybe I can look at it again. I can't. So actually, the 15 doesn't. I think basically he doesn't turn because he saw Sean. That's kind of what I'm seeing, but I don't know. I think it's still a racing incident because I still don't know what the 19 was doing either up there. But I don't know. I think the safe bet is probably called a racing deal, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think Rhett. Well, first of all, Rhett probably didn't turn down because I'm sure he felt like he had the lane established, which he did, and you don't want to be on the freaking bottom at this track, especially right after a restart. So I think he thought, he had the lane established, thought the 51 would stay up there, but obviously that's not what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think I'm just going to claim it as a racing deal. I think me and you both agree on that. It's probably the best thing to say, because I really can't place blame on anybody really on it, so it just has to be. It's a racing deal. It sucks that MJ got into it, and it sucks that you got caught up in it as well.
Yeah, I don't know if you can really see it here, but that's our teammate MJ. Got kind of into it, and I think it was like the back of his car broke one of my toe links with the force. Yeah, right there.
Oh wow, yeah, that was
close to touching me. Yeah,
absolutely net code right there. Holy crap.
Yeah, not a single piece of visual damage either on my car, so that was special.
Yeah, that one hurts. That one hurts. I didn't realize it looked that that bad. And yeah, it literally, even when you went by, I didn't really see any damage. So yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, the steering wheel was a little off to the right, but honestly, it was barely. I probably could have kept going, no problem. But apparently it takes 8 minutes as the default time to replace a toe link, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, that sucks. Sorry that happened to you, man. We're gonna hope that Charlotte, definitely provides we should have better racing at Charlotte, but who am I kidding?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
I think we will.
I hope so, but it's Charlotte, and people kind of forget that it's 300 miles, but I mean, we'll see. Longest race of the year, might add. So, but we'll get into, like I said, we'll get into that later. So we're gonna move on to the next video. So let's go take a look. Alright, so this video clip is, unfortunately, with Mr. Rhett McBride again. He wasn't having a very good night. Basically came out the corner and got loose and took out some people. So, I mean, that one we definitely can't say it was a racing deal. It unfortunately, definitely on him. Just kind of sucks. When you're having this type of race and you just feel like you're just holding on for dear life in it. And it looks like he did hit a bump. And maybe that's what upset the car and caused him to kind of kind of get loose and then try to hurry up and turn it back and try to catch it. As you can see there, but another week where we talk about the same thing. A lot of times you're not gonna be able to save this car. You're just gonna have to lock it down. Especially at that point, it's just lock it down. 'Cause you're better off locking it down and messing up your car instead of taking out 3 or 4 other people with you. I don't think that's a cool thing to do. I know people do it in the open races or whatever to try to collect other people so they don't lose as many spots. I'm not saying that's what Rhett did, but best advice I can always give is just lock it down, man. Because it's at least if you lock it down, you give other people racing around you kind of the idea of where you're gonna slide to, compared to having not a clue where you're gonna go and then trying to avoid you and they're hitting everybody else, they're hitting the wall. So it's kind of sucks for everybody else to get involved in this. But what do you think?
I mean, it was pretty cut and dry. He just lost it, but like you said, he was right there, and I can tell by the way his hand moves here. He hit that stupid bump out turn 2, like I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not so bad once the run goes on, but early in the run, I kept doing it in my own testing and did it a couple times in practice. It just like barely will upset the car towards the left, and you can kind of see, when it goes back to his cockpit, the steering wheel, he barely freaking turns it to the right, and it just does that lazy ass spin, or lazy ass slide towards the outside, and there's not much you could do at that point. It's so easy to overcorrect in these cars, but I don't even know if that was what happened here. Like I said, just from me doing it many times in the practice, you don't even think you're overcorrecting. You think you're barely like turning the wheel to the right to just kind of correct the turn to the left, and then it's done.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just a product of the car at this track with how the car reacts over the bumps. It was just deadly out of turn 2.
Yeah, and like you said, I think we've all learned, especially on cold tires, like it's it's pretty sketch on cold tires. And then you got the cold tires, and then you add the bump into it, and there's no grip really in the tires yet. Yeah, it's bound to happen, and eventually I think people did learn. I mean, like I said, we did have some, or because I didn't finish the race, but they did have some a couple long green flag runs. So I would say that like you said, the car definitely got better, or set up, and the combination basically got better as the tires heat up and you put more rubber in the track. But yeah, I'm with you. It's yeah, I kind of struggled with that a little bit as well, especially coming out of that corner. If I ran the bottom lane, if I ran the middle to like high, then it didn't do it as bad. I could catch it, but if I went to that bottom, like you said, there's just that bump. You're either gonna save it or you're gonna kill yourself. Yep. that's basically what happened. So sucks, like I said, for a couple other guys to get caught up in that. We know Rhett didn't do it intentional. He's a good driver. It's just having a really, really bad night. So, hopefully, like we said in the last one, hopefully he can have a better night at Charlotte coming up. But so we got the last clip coming up, which is going to be my incident, which kind of sucks. So, let's get into that. Alright, so we have the last clip. This was riding along with number 51. Again, he's been in quite a bit of incidents, but basically he actually did nothing wrong this time. Cody is actually behind him. It looked like the 51 kind of checked up just a little early, and it looks like a little bit of netcode. And the 28 turns him. Collects Agnel. This is where I was talking about. I got pinched in the wall. So that ended my night. And ended a couple people's. And it's like I said, it's I don't blame Cody or anything like that. You're trying to make the move. Maybe you're not expecting the 51 to break as early as he did. But your bumper hit his. Even though it was slight netcode, I still consider that a hit. It's not as bad as Nick and MJ's. And because your bumper hit his bumper, you caused him a spin, and he took out some quality cars. So, sucks, to once again be caught up in somebody else's stuff. It's, I don't know. It gets old really quickly. I can tell you that. But what do you think?
Yeah, there's definitely some netcode there. I think without it, maybe it wouldn't have happened. Cody might have been able to like kind of slide underneath the 51 into that bottom lane. But I think you're right. Probably 9 times out of 10, that's going to lead to contact without the netcode. Yeah, poor Tom or poor Wetmore. Getting involved in another one. It was actually pretty unfortunate. I was pretty impressed with the speed he had in the open. And I was actually expecting big things out of him in this race, but it was just kind of downhill for him, from the word go in the main race. So that was unfortunate. It was been nice to see what he could have done if he had gotten a chance near the front.
Yeah, and actually I've noticed him having a lot of speed, especially since Dover, where he finished 6th, I believe, or 7th. Could be a little bit worse than that. I'm pretty sure he finished top 10, but ever since then, like, he's actually been on a roll. I mean, like I said, he did, turn me, but I don't have any ill will toward him, for that. That's just racing. It is what it is. But like I said, overall, I mean, he's actually shown some really good speed. So, I was kind of with you. I was kind of trying to see what he could do. But if I remember correctly, he was caught up in 3 incidents, I believe, 3 situations or whatever. I mean, at that point, your car is just not gonna handle as good anymore. So, unfortunately, you've kind of lost the ability to possibly win the race, unless something happens with the leaders and they, wreck each other or get a lot of damage or something like that. Then maybe, but then you got other people who don't have as much damage as you do. Who can go up there and win. So, again, it would have been interesting to see, what he could do. Like you said, he was definitely fast in the open. Gave MJ a run for the money, definitely, toward the end of the run. But I believe he said he burnt up the tires, so he didn't have anything else for MJ. But, I mean, it would have been interesting to see what both of those guys can do, MJ and him. So, but unfortunately, both of them were caught up and got lots of damage, so they really didn't have any way to contend. So, but yeah, so that's, like I said, not that many cautions, I will say. There was another one, but that was just a self spin, so I didn't include that in this. He didn't hit anything. He saved it, and caution came out, re-racked, and rolled on again. So, so now we are going to pull up the results. So let me get that for you guys. Alright, so we got the results pulled up. Unfortunately, Evan hasn't posted the results where I would usually go to look at the standings and all that stuff. So we don't have the stand. Well, of course, again, there was no points, so we're not going to talk about really the standings. So they're the same from last week. But the results, he didn't put that up yet. So, but I was able to get it. So, definitely want to say congratulations to Jeremy Miller for getting his first win of the season. He led the. I believe. Didn't you say he led Oh yeah, he led every single lap. So shout out to him for getting it done. Had to hold off Andrew and Eberhard, two of the fastest, two of some of the fastest guys in the league. I'm not gonna say the fastest, but two really hard charging. So congratulations to him. The rest of the top 10 was William Smith, Tom Wetmore. After being caught up in all those incidents and wrecks, he came back and got a top 5. So that's pretty damn good. Connor Horn, I know he got caught up with some stuff. He finished P6. Cody Harris, P7. Kyle Kamer, P8. Nazi Major, the top 10. Good job for him. And Brian Chandler, our teammate. So unfortunately, that was, besides Sean, who finished 13th, that was the only 2 top 10 drivers that we had from our team, which is kind of crappy. So do you see anybody who surprises you, Nick, or anybody that didn't really do as good as what you thought?
Well, I mean, like I said, Tom Wetmore, for all the shit he went through in that race, coming back for 5th, like I said, just goes to show you the kind of speed he had that night. And like I said, unfortunately, he didn't really get a chance to show it near the front. With the exception of William and Brian, a pretty sad result for our team. I'm going to say, though, that happened mostly, or, in part, due to a lot of our guys being pretty high in the standings and having to start out back. A lot of us got caught up in the shit that was going on back there. So we'll say that's what caused it. But William had a good run. I'm not going to say I was surprised at that. He was fast in the open, and he has speed the vast majority of the time. So I wasn't really surprised. But it was good nonetheless to see him have a good result.
Yeah, I agree. William has been... If William doesn't get wrecked or get caught up in somebody else's stuff, I believe he's sitting top 10 in the standings. And the same thing with Brian. I believe if Brian, I think his best finish is 15th, and that's also somebody who just keeps getting caught up in other people's stuff, and it's super frustrating to see that they have the speed. No, they might not have top 5 speed, but they definitely got top 15 speed every freaking week, and it seems like every week they're getting either wrecked or there's an accident that they can't avoid. It's just frustrating, to see, especially in my case as an owner. It's frustrating to see, when these guys can finish finish good, finish in the top 10, finish in the top 15 every week, and they can't because of other people's shit. We have other teammates who have similar situations. Nick Silver, or sorry, not Nick Silver. That's you. No, you're actually having a great season. Chris Rabel, I'm sorry, is another one who has kind of had an up and down season. It's kind of similar to me. Where it's like, well, he has a great run, and then the next week he gets caught up in somebody's shit. Has another great run, caught up in somebody's shit. So it's crazy how, 1 week you could be having, you feel like you're on top of the world, and the next week you just feel like shit. You just feel like you're down in the dump and just want to cut the game off, or sim. Sorry, I did not say game. I apologize. It's a sim. You cut the sim off and you kind of do like you said. Go get some food, sit back and relax, and go find something else to do. So, I feel for not just the guys in our team who are kind of struggling, but just people in general in the league who are struggling to find their feet, to kind of get the ball rolling, to kind of just find some type of consistency. It's not easy. It's still a new car. You're still trying to learn the nuances and what it likes and what it doesn't like. You're still trying to figure out what you like about the car as far as settings and stuff, and what you don't like. So it's it's definitely been a process, and we're getting close to we're getting close to halfway in the season, so I'm hoping, our team, RSR, or Jesus Christ, KIR, I'm losing it today. KR can, get the ball rolling and really start, having some better finishes. Because this team standings, they're not looking pretty right now, and we're letting the competitors catch us. So we need to be on the ball and get a little bit better. So, again, this is normally where we would go into the standings, but like I said, there's no standings to really talk about because it was an All-Star race. But I have a new segment that is called the Power Rankings. So we're going to go ahead and take a look and see who made the Power Rankings for so far in this season. I've started from the last track we did, which was Darlington. So from Daytona to Darlington, I've made a boatload of calculations from your wins, top fives, top tens, your last points races, your average top five, your average from the beginning of the season to figure out the power rankings for the league. So we're only going to really talk about the top 15. And then as the weeks go on, we might kind of dive into a little bit more of some of the drivers who could probably make up a lot of points. But for now, we're just going to talk about the top 15. So let me get that set up for you guys, and you guys can see that. Alright, so we are back, and again, I have the power rankings for the top 15 for the RSR League. So this took, to be honest with you, took a lot of work, but it was actually pretty fun to kind of mess around with the numbers, see how good you guys are, top 5s and top 10s, like I said, in wins. I will say for my calculation, wins pay huge. So, again, we're going to start with the 15th place person, which is going to be Mr. Connor Horn. Overall, let me see if I can get that pulled up. Actually, no, I can't. But he actually has had a couple bad races, a couple 20th place finishes and 30th place finishes. I think his last race at Darlington, I finished 28th or 29th. So, since his win, he's kind of been up and down. So it'll be interesting to see what direction he goes for Charlotte, along with Timothy Johnson. I'm sorry, I can't say your last name. Johnston, with P14. He's kind of the same thing, kind of up and down. And then we have Thomas George, who I have noticed has been doing pretty decently. Michael Loria, Tom Wetmore, P11. Sean Casto is P10. Agno Phillip. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. I thought Agno Phillip would have been higher up. But I kind of forgot that he's had some bad races. Vegas comes to mind when they auto-corrected into turn 1 and turn 2. And then I remember watching the broadcast and they kind of said the same thing, like he couldn't catch a break. So it was actually hard for me to believe that, like, wow, like I thought he would have been, because I believe he's not even, I believe he's top 15 in points. I don't believe he's top 10. So it was interesting, like I said, to play with the numbers and really see where you guys shake out. So but that was definitely interesting. Michael Johnson, P8. He's had another, he as well has had an up and down season, but it looks like he's still trying to carry on in the top 10. Sam Nieto has finished very good in the last 2 races. I know for a fact his last 2 races has helped him bump into the top 10 into the power rankings. So shout out to Sam, for doing a damn good job. So keep that up. Kevin King, is another one. He got his win at Talladega, so that kind of helped him fall into the top 10 as well. And then, of course, myself, who has not won a race, which I need to win a race, I feel like. But with my up and down season, I guess it's not as bad as some others, even though I feel like it's the worst season I've had. So, hopefully I can move up as well. Mr. Nick Silver for the P4. Your consistency is definitely being shown, sir. I appreciate that. So
Thank you very much.
No problem. So you're sitting P4. Do you think that's fair? Or do you think you should be higher up, lower up? What do you think?
I mean, I don't know, maybe a little lower, but I'm. It's weird. I don't feel like I'm setting the world on fire or anything like that, but I am having a consistent year so far, sitting third in the regular standings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like that's what happens to me every year. I'm always, farting around right around like top 5 in points, and then once the playoffs hit, go back because you don't have a win. But I'm hovering right there. I think I had a chance to win at Vegas, and I think we'll have more chances to win before the playoffs happen. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I think you don't realize how consistent you've been. You've racked up quite a bit of top 10s. So actually, I think I'm going to make sure I kind of put that onto the next chart so you guys can actually see the difference between the drivers, at least like your top, your wins, top 5 and top 10s. Even though I know you can see that on the standings and everything, but when you compare it to the power rankings, you get to really see, the differences between each driver. So I might do that for the next time. So we'll see. Or if you really want to do it, just let me know down the chat. And then I'll definitely make it happen. I think the last 3 guys is probably a given. Andrew has definitely turned on the heat after getting his win, so he is definitely the old Andrew is definitely coming. So the rest of the competition better watch out. Cody Harris, and then of course Mr. Brandon Six. So looking at that full list, do you see anybody that jumps out at you, or that you're surprised about, or that you think should be on there?
I mean, nobody really surprises me except for maybe Agnell. We're not going to talk about how you spelled his name on this thing, by the way.
Did I spell that wrong? Oh shit! Sorry.
But I would think Agnell would be maybe in the top 3, but like you said, kind of going back to his results, he's either on fire or something happens to him. So
yeah,
I guess it does kind of make sense then that he's back there in 9th. But if I just had to go off the top of my head who the top 3 hottest drivers are probably right now in the series, I would have to say Brandon Six of, number 1. He's won the most races this season, I think. So I think he definitely deserves to be number 1. And then I would probably say Agnell, and then Andrew, of course. Andrew's always up there. Maybe not as dominant this year as years past, but he's always a factor no matter what.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're talking about a 4-time champion. 4-time champion. I'm hoping that Mr. Six can kind of, knock him off the totem pole a little bit. And then I can sneak in there and come in Phoenix, win Phoenix, and take the championship there. But beggars can't be choosers, so the likelihood of that is probably low because I know how good Andrew is. And honestly, I would probably say, you know what? I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna make my Final 4 prediction, and I'm going to say Brandon Six, Andrew, Kevin King, Agnell Phillip.
I think you're pretty spot on there. Only one, maybe swap Kevin with a Sam Nieto
Oh,
possibly, or maybe even a Daniel Eberhardt. I don't know. Daniel's had a freaking weird year. You know, he got suspended for a while. You know, whatever. But he's got to win, and as long as he doesn't screw around too much before the playoffs, you know, he should be in the points position to make it in the playoffs. And you know, he's like Andrew. He's always a factor, or usually a factor, no matter what. So I think you know, Brandon, Andrew, and Agnell are pretty much given in the final four. You know, as far as how they're performing now, but you know, that final spot's kind of up there with Kevin and Daniel, maybe Sam. Who knows?
I would say that would be very interesting. It'd be very, very interesting to see. 'Cause, like I said, Sam has finished top 5 in the last 2 races, and on completely different tracks. We're talking about a Darlington and a Dover, and he's been fast at each track. Could have probably won Darlington if he played the strategy right. I don't think he played the strategy as well as Agnell did, and that's what gave Agnell the win. But that would be very, very interesting. I think Sam being in the final 4 is a wild card. I mean, Sam hasn't even won a race yet.
Hey, anything can happen though. I mean,
oh yeah,
shit. I almost made the final 4 last year till Matt Danson decided it wasn't in the cards for me, but we won't go there.
I wasn't gonna bring that up.
But anything can happen in the playoffs, you know. Like I said, I think those other 3 guys are pretty much a shoo-in unless something real crazy happens to them in the playoffs. But you know, anything can happen for that final 4 spot.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm trying to think of the playoff races right now that I can really think of. I know Darlington's definitely one of them. You know, so we could see, you know, 6, Andrew. I mean, more than likely it'll be 6, Andrew, Sam. I don't really know how Kevin King would have did if he didn't run to the back of me, which I'm not blaming him at all for that. That was all me. But I never really got to see what he could have done. So, but I think, you know, if I'm like I said, if I'm thinking of the playoff races, you got Darlington, you got Bristol. You know, without the dirt on it, the regular paved Bristol, we have not ran that. And I believe last year Andrew was really, really fast, and I think something I can't remember what happened with Andrew, and Agnell won that one. I almost won the Darlington race. I don't know how, but I almost won that one. I'm trying to think of like some of the other ones. Martinsville, you kind of talked about. That was, I felt like either one of us could have won that one. But shit happened, and yeah, that opportunity kind of got taken away from us, I believe. It's just, I believe it's Texas in there as well. Is there? I think there's a Kansas. I could be wrong. And in other words, there's a lot of different variety of tracks. And the only person so far, there's a couple people that I've seen that's been good on everywhere they go so far, and I'm not just saying him. I'm not just saying him because he's our teammate, but it's right now between Brandon 6 and Andrew. It's the only 3 guys, or only 2 guys right now. I feel 100% confident that they can basically be fast on any track they go to. No matter if it's a short track. Well, let me back that up. Andrew is not that good on road courses. That's Andrew's Achilles heel. But Brandon 6 is pretty decent, along with myself, on the road courses. If you take the road courses out, then I think you got a pretty close match. And I'm sorry, go ahead. You were gonna say something.
I was just gonna say, lucky for Andrew, there's only the one road course in the playoffs, and you know, I'm assuming the rules are gonna stay the same for the rest of the season. So without any cautions or anything at the road courses, it's really just survive and just be in a spot where you don't lose ground. That's how, at least I always view the Roval race in the playoffs. I'm not a top 5 road course car, not even a top 10 really. But if I always go in thinking, as long as I can finish my top 15 like I usually do, then I'll be all right. So you just got to play it safe and, minimize your losses and move on. And so, luckily for Andrew, that's the only road course you got to deal with in the playoffs.
Yeah, I would honestly prefer not to have a road course in the playoffs. I used to say that for years, and now that we have one, I'm like, can you take that back out? Like, I don't, I don't want that. I miss Homestead being the final race, to be completely honest with you. Homestead, I felt like, was such a fun race, for it to be the finale. And it's not just because I won it last year off of strategy, but it just, I feel like it provides more opportunities for strategy and stuff like that to happen, where Phoenix is just not that good, honestly. But
it can turn into a shit show at Phoenix, so it could turn into a shit show anywhere, but at least at Homestead, a mile-and-a-half track or whatever, you've got less opportunity for people to do something dumb or for something dumb to happen that'll take you out. So it's more leaves it more up to the driver. So
yeah,
and not to mention I just hate Phoenix, so I'd prefer Homestead too. Or at least change it up every year. That'd be nice too.
That I give this man a medal. Yes. I've been saying that now for the past 2 years. Look, if y'all don't want to change the All-Star race, well, and this is kind of like my pet peeve with the real NASCAR. We don't need to continue to go to the same track, and I'm, thankfully RSR doesn't go to the same track every year. Thankfully they changed it up. But I kind of feel like the last race of the year, the championship race, should also be changed up, because it gives other tracks that shine. If you can you imagine the final race at Bristol? I mean, that place would be absolutely packed, sold out. You got beating and banging, and just chaos everywhere. But it would be a hell of a race. But again, that's just my opinion. And also wishful thinking, because I don't think that'll ever happen. But I mean, you never know. But that's pretty much it. Again, there's a short video today, because again, it was an All-Star race, not that many cautions, it was only 100 laps, and honestly, not really a lot to talk about. Not a lot of drama happened over the past week, so which is good.
Yeah,
Save all the drama for Charlotte, because I think we're definitely I think we might have some crazy drama. So as we get ready, Life of a Sim Racer 300, as we get ready to sponsor next week's Charlotte race, which I think it's next week, or is it not next week?
Yeah,
it is next week.
Couple days from when we're recording this.
Okay, right, yes. I'm all confused with the schedule, man. It's confusing. But
well, I won't tell you we have a week off after that, then a race, then another week off again.
Okay. Yeah, that's good fun. I'm not feeling all these off days. I need something to do with myself doing all these off. Maybe I'll go run the super late models at Nashville Fairgrounds.
There you go.
Since we didn't make it very far in the race, so maybe I'll go do that, and go have some real fun.
But all these off weekends kind of reminds me of old league Sean and I used to run, where they scheduled it around March Madness in the March time, so we had weekends off or whatever, or weeks off just for frickin' basketball games.
Didn't I run that league with y'all? Was that Sim 500?
I don't know if it was Sim 500, honestly, but
I'm not trying to throw shade at Sim 500. I was just thinking. I'm like, I thought that was
I don't know.
But I do remember
else,
doing something like that.
So I don't know. Maybe Evan has some basketball games he wants to watch on all these off weeks. I don't know.
I don't know, but I tell you what, it definitely hurts the consistency game. You're trying to get in the rhythm, and next thing you know, oh, you're off next week. Like, son of a... Why, Evan? Like, if I just... These and it more than likely had something to do with Evan's schedule, obviously. I mean, he's the owner of the league, more than likely he has something going on and he can't be here or be there to do the broadcast or whatever. So that's more than likely what it is. I mean, he does have a life outside of broadcasting our races. Man, it just kind of sucks when we keep having all these off weeks, and I'm like, I just want to race. I just want to race. That's all I want to do. I just want to race. But it is what it is. And of course, we'll take it, and we'll be off, and we'll race, and then we'll be off again, and we'll try to get our shit together and try to keep the consistency. But well, boys and girls, it's coming to an end. Like I said, it wasn't very long, so of course, if you could, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification so you'll be notified when the next video pops up. Because we love to talk about the RSR races, break it down, cause drama, and talk about who's in the power rankings, since that's going to be our new segment. But as always, I gotta thank Digital-Motorsports. Like I said before, if you guys need anything to do with sim racing, go text them out at Digital-Motorsports.com. If you guys need a paint scheme, Mr. Elwood Designs, you can catch him on Twitter. He's actually selling base paint schemes now, from what I saw, and some of those base paint schemes are fire, literally fire. So hit him up. If you need any paint schemes, custom paint schemes, replica paint schemes, he's got you. If you need a custom gaming controller, please hit up Battle Beaver. You can hit them up on battlebeaver.com, or you can hit them up on Twitter. So check them out. And Boosted, if you need any websites created, or you want your own website, or if you just want to sell merchandise, on your website, hit up Boosted. They're also on Twitter. I believe it's boosted.biz. You can hit them up and they'll be able to help you out. And of course, I gotta thank the team keeping it real. But Nick, you got anybody you want to thank before we roll out of here, buddy?
I just gotta give a shout out and thanks to RaceLab apps and Elwood Designs for the awesome paint schemes this year. Like you said, he always comes up with some great ones. I hear there might be a Life of a Sim Racer special coming out for the race on Monday, for the big race that this channel's sponsoring. So I can't wait to see what he comes up with for that.
Okay. I'm liking it.
Hopefully that rides up front. And then got to give a shout out. Thanks to all our boys at Keeping It Real Esports. Great group of guys. Great team. We're all doing well as long as we don't get wrecked. So hopefully we can keep up the good work and finish out this year strong.
Yes. I would love to claim another trophy. Would like to claim 2 trophies, honestly. Drivers Championship from one of you guys or myself, and Team Championship. We got 2. We can do it. I know we can do it. It's gonna definitely be a challenge, but I know we can definitely do it. So, but yeah. So that's it, boys and girls. Like I said, we will. Oh, sorry. Before we even do that, completely forgot. It's one of those type of nights. Charlotte. We got Charlotte coming up. That's our next race. I am, like I said, pumped because it's the Life of a Sim Racer 300, sponsored by us. I am looking forward to Charlotte because I've always loved Charlotte. Charlotte's a fun race, whether it's strategic, whether it's fuel strategy, whether it's try not to hit the wall coming out of 4, or coming out of 2. I love Charlotte. I've actually been to the real track, and even when I was there, it was amazing to watch. So, Mr. Nick, before we go, what's your thoughts on Charlotte, man? How you feel? How do you feel about racing 300 miles at Charlotte?
It's gonna be a long freaking race. So mentally getting prepared for that,
Right.
and definitely gonna have to eat before. And then I don't know. I guess I'm pretty confident. I like racing at Charlotte. I feel like I've been pretty decent in this car at these types of tracks this year, except for maybe Dover, but I don't think that really counts as the same type of track. Quickly look back at the result from last year. I honestly don't even remember what happened, but apparently I didn't finish very good last year. Even though our teammate Brian Chambliss went on and won, but I had a good finish at Sim 500 the year before, so I don't know. We'll see. I think I'll hopefully be in the top 10. Maybe we'll get a late race caution or something. We'll have a shot at it.
Okay. Now I'm curious. Now I'm gonna have to later. I'm gonna have to go back and see exactly what happened because I don't remember. I remember I ran out of fuel, but I don't remember what happened.
I don't know. I was a solid 4 laps down, so
Oh.
something happened.
Well, that was more than running out of fuel.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is that the wreck that Trey caused?
Hopefully not.
Sorry, I just threw our teammate under the bus. But I mean, hey, look, it's facts. I mean, I believe. Yeah, I think that is that one.
I don't know. I'll have to go dig up the
I know.
broadcast later,
We might
just so
have,
I could get mad at Trey all over again.
look. We might have to talk about it next week as well. So we'll just be like, hey, we went to go look back up and we found out we found out what happened. But yeah, so that'll be next week. So as always, thanks you guys for listening. Thanks for watching. If you're watching, if you're listening, thanks for listening. As always, please stay safe. Take it easy. And I'm going to catch you guys in the next one. Peace.